The objectively best route to take The Last of Us 3, if they make a game instead of continuing to make remakes of remasters, would be to make it a completely different story that's not attached to Ellie, Dina, Tommy, anything related to Joel or Abby, and take it away from the United States and give us a whole new continent and see how the infection, the breakout, is affecting the rest of the world. You can literally start, it doesn't even have to be in during like Ellie's timeline. Like you can start before Ellie was born, because of course we still had the spores and all the infected and all that stuff, because Joel survived for what, like 20 years before meeting Ellie. You can focus on The Last of Us 3, different continent, in that 20-year span before Ellie Williams was even born, before anyone knew about like a cure. And the person in the story doesn't have to be related to having a cure or being immune or anything. They could just be like survivors. Would the story then get closer to The Walking Dead? Honestly, probably. I haven't indulged in any Walking Dead media, so I don't know. But I think what you could do, make it a real survivor story and still have those real themes within the story, like you did with the Seraphites, like you did with the wolves, like you did with the freaking cannibal cult, all that type of stuff. Like have those themes and real issues that would definitely stem from an apocalyptic breakout of freaking zombies, and keep them in the story, but focus on a new terrain. So we're in new environments. We're facing new types of infected, because again, we're in different continents that may have different climate. Because we know like Seattle is different from Boston, so it'll spawn different sort of infected as they grow because of the moisture in the air and the water and the rain and all that stuff. So if we're in places that are maybe drier or even more wet or colder or whatever, let's see how that affects the infected and see how there's different stages and how there's different procedures. How is a quarantine zone gonna work in China or something? Work in post-apocalyptic China? How is a quarantine zone gonna work in post-apocalyptic Ghana? Like, what are all these things? How are the borders being broken down between the countries and stuff like that? Like, how do things work? Are there pirates? Do people become pirates and just like live on the seas? How would that work? Can they stop island to island? That would be freaking cool. Imagine we had The Last of Us 3 like pirate version. That would be so cool. Like somebody was able to get a ship and they low-key just live as pirates. And then perhaps there's water infected. I'd be freaking terrified if there was water infected. I don't even know how that would work. There's like so many different routes that you can go. They don't have to be related to any of the main cast, because I feel like keeping the story related to the main cast is unnecessary technically, because I feel like Ellie's story is quote-unquote finished. Like I feel like you can add a DLC in The Last of Us. So imagine they make The Last of Us 3. It's in a different continent, different time period. It can either be post-Ellie, it could be pre-Ellie, like sort of like during Joel's sort of era. So for The Last of Us 3, they have all that, and then they add a DLC where it's like, quote-unquote, Ellie's Lost Days, or Ellie Alone. Avatar and Legend of Korra reference, by the way. So they have one of those where it's maybe like Ellie trying to fight her way back to Jackson, or Ellie fighting her way back to the farmhouse, something like that. Just a little DLC like that, or even a DLC of Tommy and Joel's years, and you add that to The Last of Us 3. But The Last of Us 3 in general is focused on a whole new sort of location, different sort of infected, different sort of issues and problems that can all be sort of tied together, because I feel like things go to the end like that, a lot of people are going to react similarly, but based on different like places that people are in, there might be some different like discrepancies and stuff like that. Like we could even see the discrepancies between when Ellie was in like Santa Barbara compared to like a Seattle. You can even see the differences in locations and factions and groups. Like there's so much potential to explore that it doesn't have to be related to the main cast. Of course it's going to be sad. Of course it's going to cause outrage to not have the main cast involved. Everyone wants to see more of Ellie. Everybody wants to see more of Joel. Even people want to see more of Abby, despite how many people hate Abby. I don't even hate her like that, but despite how many people hate Abby, they still want to see more of this story because of like nostalgia, because that's what we have. That's the story that we've grown so attached to. But I really think that taking it away from that and exploring the rest of the world during like this global outbreak would be so cool and has so much potential. So I just want to know what you guys think. Like if Naughty Dog were to do a Last of Us 3, would you want to see it still follow Ellie and Abby's sort of story? Would you want it to go back to Joel's story? Or would you be open to seeing things going worldwide, going international, like having an outbreak in like India and kind of just playing through that? Would you be open to having like outbreaks across the world and maybe you flip between two point of views? Here's a new one for you. Maybe you flip between 2 point of views. You have 2 characters like you did with Abby and Ellie, but you have one character in like England or something. You have one character in like a different part of the world, like India or something, and you see the differences between the infected. You see the difference between like the way people are surviving because of the different weather conditions and all that. And I think that'd be cool. I think that'd be really cool. So what do you guys think? Like drop your ideas in the comments, and honestly I'll try to respond to all of them, because dude, I love creativity, and this is just pure creativity that we'll be spewing back and forth in the comments. So what do you guys think about The Last of Us 3 if that were to ever exist, and what would you want to see from it? Anyways, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. If you watched the full video, then drop a little leaf or like plan emoji, because I really appreciate that. And don't forget to like. The likes really help me just try to grow this channel so I can kind of get more reach out there, just to inspire people to make their own videos, and just so I can keep talking about the things that I love and actually have some other people see it as well. That's really cool. And if you're really feeling nice, then you can even subscribe if you want to see more. Subscribe, turn on the notifications, just so whenever I drop, you can catch a nice little video. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys like some of these ideas, and I can't wait to see yours. So peace.